Welcome to Stonewatch. This is my open spoiler discussion for Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania. And if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify for future videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, after watching Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania at the theaters opening weekend, I gotta say, this movie was pretty damn good. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say this is my top favorite MCU movie. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, out of 31 movies from the MCU so far, it's probably like in the middle. I mean, maybe after I do a rewatch of it and stuff like that, I can probably rank it a little bit more. But right now, I enjoyed it. I had a really good time with this movie. Now, we had a runtime of 124 minutes, so it was a little bit longer than the other two movies. Not by much, just a little bit, because the first Ant-Man movie was 117 minutes and Ant-Man 2 was 118 minutes. So it wasn't really that much longer, and it didn't feel like it was like 2 hours. I thought the pacing was pretty good. I mean, we get a little bit of like a background story at the very beginning of the movie. They say, here we are, this is where we're at, and then boom, we're in the quantum realm, and it's like non-stop. And I didn't find out about this until I was doing research and prep for this video, that they used the volume, which, watching how this thing was and how nutty the background scenery was, that's like the perfect place to actually film this movie as far as I'm concerned, because what does the quantum realm really look like, right? I mean, I heard somebody else in their review, since I watched this movie, saying that, they didn't believe it. Well, what? Do you know what the quantum realm looks like? I mean, and they said they didn't have enough practical effects. I mean, could you do that? I mean, could you actually really make a lot of practical stuff in the quantum realm? I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. I mean, I thought this thing was pretty damn good. I thought the story was interesting. I thought Paul Rudd was awesome. Jonathan Majors was awesome. Catherine Newton, the girl playing Cassie, she was pretty awesome in this one. Michelle Pfeiffer, I don't care what anybody says, she's my top favorite Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? I mean, didn't really care for Batman Returns, but she is my favorite Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is a 2023 American superhero film based on Marvel Comics, featuring the character Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, and Hope Pym, aka Wasp. Produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studio Motion Pictures. It is the sequel to Ant-Man 2015 and Ant-Man and the Wasp 2018. The first film in Phase 5 and is the 31st film for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Directed by Peyton Reed and written by Jeff Loveness. In the film, Lang and Van Dyne are transported to the quantum realm along with their family and face Kang the Conqueror. Plans for the third Ant-Man film were confirmed in November 2019, with Reed and Rudd returning. Loveness was hired by April of 2020, with development on the film beginning during the COVID-19 pandemic. The film's title and new cast members were announced in December of 2020. Filming in Turkey began early February of 2021, with additional filming occurring in San Francisco in mid-June, ahead of the principal photography starting at the end of July at Pinewood Studios in Buckinghamshire and ending in November. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania premiered in Los Angeles, California on February 6th of 2023 and was released worldwide on February 17th of 2023. The film has received mixed reviews from the critics. Starring in this movie, Paul Rudd, Angelina Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, Catherine Newton, David Dasmokian, William Jackson Harper, Kathy O'Brien, and Bill Murray, just to name a few. Currently, Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania is sitting with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 47%, with 303 top critics reporting in. So, a little less than half of the critics actually like this movie. Now, it's a totally different situation on the audience side. It's sitting with a score of 84%, with 5,000 plus fans telling you what they think. So, the fans are loving this movie way more so than the critics. Now, I'm not really sure why that is, because I have not read any of the comments from the top critics to figure out what exactly they didn't like about this movie. Myself personally, like I said already, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I went in with this movie with an open mind, not really having any expectations. I don't really know that much about the character of Kang, except for seeing a little bit on YouTube. I didn't really do a deep dive to learn all about that stuff, because I wanted to see how they presented it on the big screen first, and then I would go back and do the, what you missed and all this other type stuff afterwards. You know what I mean? Because they adapt a lot from the comics, but they change things up to fit the narrative that they're trying to actually do. Because I'm only really familiar with Kang from the Loki series, where he's like the He Who Remains. I think that's what they were him in that series. I mean, it's supposed to be like basically the same guy. Now, with an estimated budget of $200 million, and as of right now, its total domestic box office, including, I believe, pre-ticket sales for Monday, is $118 million. Now, internationally, it brought in $239 million, which brings its total worldwide box office as of right now $300 $657 million. So that's like almost caught up to Ant-Man 1 and Ant-Man 2. I mean, Ant-Man 1 made $519 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp made $662.6 million. So it's like almost halfway there to catch up to those two movies. And it's only opening weekend. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, I've been seeing some people that didn't like this movie. I've seen like, oh, Ant-Man and Quantumania sucks. I didn't click on it because I didn't want to hear that negativity. If you don't like it, this will, it's all subjective. It's all up to you, man. I mean, I had a lot of fun with this movie. Now, it's obviously in the profit range. We'll have to wait and see how much legs this thing has second weekend, because like if it drops more than like 60%, then you know that's not any good. But again, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I have to say that MODOK turned out to be a lot different than I thought he would be, to be quite honest with you. But then again, I kind of remember him from when I read comics back in the day. At the same time, I don't. And again, with him, I didn't do a deep dive either. I figured I would wait to see what they presented on the screen first, and then I'll go back and do a deep dive and to get more information on that character. So I don't know whether or not if like the character they have being MODOK is MODOK in the comics. You know what I'm saying? Because in the movie, this is a spoiler if you have not seen Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania and you got this far in the video, I'm sorry, but this is a spoiler. They had the first villain from Ant-Man 1 actually be MODOK. Now, I don't know whether or not if he actually is MODOK from the comics, to be quite honest with you, but I thought it was pretty interesting that that's who that was. And I thought it was funny, but they killed him off like at the end of the movie. So I was like, okay, you introduced the character just to kill him off? I thought that was like, all right, and then, I don't know, maybe it's more something else to it. I don't know, but I thought that was kind of weird how like they introduced the character just to kill him off. So I don't know. It was cool to see Bill Murray make an appearance in this movie. I believe his character is called Lord Kryla, I think that's how you say it. And apparently he has some history with Janet. Now, the only thing about that is I kind of want to know more about that history. I mean, they kind of made some hints on it and stuff like that. They're playing a little bit of joke that something might have been going on between them two, because she was down there for 30 years and she did make the mention that she has needs, right? So, and also I wanted to bring up the fact that they actually had people in the quantum realm. I thought was kind of weird, and especially when they seemed to think that they were human or they're not human. So, but they look human. So that was kind of weird. It's like, okay. I mean, it didn't take me out of it, but it's just kind of weird that there would actually be people in the quantum realm. And apparently there was quite a few. If you look at the city that Kang had going on there was a lot of living beings in that thing, or you wouldn't have that big of a city, right? So, I don't know. Again, it was cool to see Bill Murray make an appearance, but just like MODOK, they show him and stuff like that. They introduce him and they give you a little bit of a backstory on him. And the next thing you know, they pretty much implied that, he died as they were leaving the restaurant and what have you. So I don't know if we'll ever see him again. I don't know. And I also liked how they focused on the father and daughter relationship with Scott Lang and Cassie. They did that a little bit with the previous two films also, but it seemed like in this one they were really trying to drive that home. And myself personally, being a father of two daughters, I really dug that part of the story. And I can kind of relate. I mean, I missed out a lot of time with my daughters when they were growing up too, because I had to work and all that, what have you. So I think about that quite a bit. All the time I missed with them as they were growing up. I missed some of their activities that they had in school and stuff like that because I had to work. So that part of this movie, I really dug. Now, there were two post-credit scenes for this movie. The first one was pretty much showing us all the different variations of Kang that we're going to get later on down the road. This also shows like the acting chops for Jonathan Majors, because he played all those different variations that we get of Kang. One was like, he was like Egyptian, and then there was, I can't remember the other ones. There were so many of them. Towards the end of this clip, there was pretty much like thousands of them, maybe even millions. I'm not sure, but there's like all these other variations of Kang. Now, I think that's going to be playing into when we get Kang's Dynasty later on down. I believe that's in 2025, 2026 when that movie comes out. I don't have to get back to you on that one. I don't remember if that got moved. But however, I think that's when them all come into play, but they might actually use all them different variations to pepper them on through the MCU from here on out, because we do see another version of Kang in the second post-credit scene. Now, this one is kind of like a preview of Loki Season 2. Now, I'm not sure exactly when that is going to drop on Disney Plus as of right now. They're only saying it's supposed to be out in summer of 2023. So I don't know when that drops yet, but when I find out, I'll let you know, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably know before I do. But however, that's something to look forward to. I thought it was pretty cool how they threw that in there, because I kind of liked Loki Season 1. There was some things about him going, okay, but for the most part, I enjoyed Season 1. Unlike most people that are on YouTube right now, I liked Phase 4. There was a few things I didn't like and some things I liked more than others, but other than that, I enjoyed Phase 4 just as much as I did the rest of the MCU. The first 3 phases where I think they had more of a, I wouldn't say more of a plan, but they had more time to spread it out. Where it was pointed out earlier on today that they were all the stuff that they put out. That was like over the course of 10 years and what have you, where they've been putting out just as much stuff, but it's only been like in the last year and a half or so. But we've got more Disney Plus shows, we had more movies. Now Kevin Feige recently has said that they're going to kind of pull back a little bit. We're only going to get 2 Disney Plus shows this year. I believe it's going to be Loki season 2 and Secret Invasion. They're not saying exactly where we're going to get those, but those would probably be the only 2 Disney Plus shows we get this year. But overall, all I can say is I had a lot of fun with this movie. Now, I'm pretty sure once I go and do the deep dives and stuff like that and watch all the what you missed, whatever videos, it might change my mind. Maybe. I don't know. I still had fun with this movie. I still liked it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I would rank this movie with all the other MCU movies we got so far. I mean, out of 31 movies, I definitely did. This one's not at the bottom. I mean, it's probably a little bit more towards the middle, I have to say, as far as of the MCU movies. At least as of right now. That could change, right? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is our next MCU movie, which drops on May 5th of 2023. And then we have the Marvels come in on November 10th of 2023. So we're still getting quite a bit of MCU stuff this year. You know what I mean? So did you go check out Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania at the theaters? Let me know in the comments down below. What'd you think? Did you like this movie? Let me know in the comments down below. And where does it rank with you with all the other MCU movies? Let me know in the comments down below. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I'm pretty sure if I stopped and thought about it, I could probably pick out a lot of plot holes and stuff like that. But I went into it, open mind, had a good time. That's what I wanted, right? So let me just think in the comments down below.